Welcome back to GenuinelyLAS. My name is Luke, and yes, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, in the Cupra Born, specifically the Cupra Born V1 58 kilowatt hour. And today we are going to be taking a deeper dive in some of the features, some of the pros, some of the cons of this car. If you haven't seen my first impressions video, it'll be linked up here or down here. We had a nice overview of the car. It was my first experience in an electric car. I didn't go into as much detail as I would have liked, so I wanted to come back down, and a massive thank you to Fish Brothers Cupra in Swindon for letting me come back down and film with this car again to just, I guess, mention a few more features, a few more things here and there that I really like about this car, or things that I'm not so keen on. The best part of this journey is it is actually very close to lunchtime right now, and as you can tell, I'm a big boy and I need to feed myself. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to a little place, you might have heard of it, Mollie's Diner and Motel. And between myself and that, B roads and A roads, we can really talk about this car, discuss it, see how we feel, and then have a juicy burger at the end to really wrap it all up. So I think on that note, we should probably get going. Back in the Born. It's good to be back. If you haven't seen my first impressions video, I suggest you probably subscribe to this channel, and then after that you go and watch the video. But I thought it'd be good to spend a bit more time actually really identify the features I really like about this car, maybe things I'd change or aren't massively a fan of. And as you know, we would love to bring out the corporate feedback sandwich. Let's start with something good first. The battery regen, I think, actually works quite well, especially when I've noticed it mostly now when I've been driving down country roads and going down, say, a descent of any sort. You feel the regen really kicking in, and it's quite nice to know that I'm putting a little bit back into the battery, where in a normal car, any car without battery regen like that, you just be burning battery or burning petrol. So it's a bit of a small win. It's small win. I'll take that. One of the features I'm not so keen on is the performance mode in this car. It works in the sense you feel there's a change in the responsiveness of the motor, which always works quite well to get you down the road a little bit faster. But when you're going down the road of kind of any real dips and bumps and like changing surface, basically a B road in the UK, the car feels like it's bouncing around, hopping around. You can't really put down the power properly. It just feels kind of almost like stop-start in a way. That's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I think you kind of see what I mean. It's a bit juddery. It's actually a lot smoother in comfort mode, believe it or not, in terms of power delivery. So if I was you, I'd go into the individual settings and change the suspension. It definitely gets firmer in individual mode. I would definitely change it just to at least make the ride a bit more pleasant when you're trying to put the power down, so you can actually maximise the mode you're really in. Oh, it's a tunnel, it's a tunnel, it's a tunnel. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's not a V10 by any means, or a V8, V6, or a V4, or a V2. But, I mean, we've got through the tunnel, so I guess that's a win. God, I do enjoy driving this thing though. It feels so nice when driving. It does feel a little bit chonk, but just taking on some of these B roads, it just has been pretty enjoyable. And so I'm getting distracted by my own childish behaviour. It's so hard to even like get over or get used to the acceleration rate of this car. This is not a particularly fast EV, and brake horsepower 200 horsepower, 99 miles an hour top speed. This is not a lightning fast EV by any stretch of the imagination, but around these B roads, in performance mode especially, it does feel nice. It does genuinely feel nice. It's a nice drive, and when you contrast that with the fact that around town it's just this quiet cruiser, there's no super loud exhaust. And for the record, I love a loud exhaust. I love the vibrations, the feeling of that, but as an everyday car, it feels like it does pretty much the best of both worlds. Or maybe not the best. It does the best of in-town driving for sure. Maybe not as exhilarating. It's not as exhilarating as a hot hatch, as we know and love. I think I was expecting this car to be a little bit more silly. I mean, the fact that this is a rear-wheel drive electric car, you know, instant torque to the rear wheels, you do think it would be a bit of a menace, which I think would have been really exciting, like a really cool, a cool development. But it's not. It just kind of feels like you're driving an electric front-wheel drive car. I mean, I don't really see how it's that different in that respect to an ID3. Maybe that's because there are some safety systems that I've not been able to turn off or not managed to turn off so far, but it's a shame. I wish it was a bit more of a hooligan compared to the ID3, where in reality it feels like a prettier, more dressed up but not more expensive ID3. And I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. That being said, what I do really like is just how quiet and composed it is just on a motorway. I mean, we're just going to the motorway now, and it's just it's a nice place to be. It's nice, it's quiet, it feels really refined, but it does make me think, how quiet must an electric Range Rover or Rolls Royce be, because it must truly be like you're in your own little bubble. I mean, there's a little bit of tyre noise, to be fair, there's some wind noise, but without a motor attached, it is just a pretty serene place to be otherwise. Especially if you've got music on, there's very little to hear, which is very boring. And I know I've mentioned it before, but the regen braking, I like to call it smart regen braking. Not only are you getting, I guess, when you lift off the accelerator, you're getting some regen benefit, even in drive mode, and not it's a specific brake mode, regen brake mode. It works. I love when you're coming up to a car in front and maybe there's a speed difference, it automatically applies regen braking to slow you down a bit. If you come up to a junction, it applies regen braking to slow you down. It is quite smart. I do really think it's a quite smart system. It doesn't just feel like it's a one-size-fits-all, which could be a worry for some in the EV. But I would say, when you put it in brake regen mode, it is a lot stronger than just normal mode. You find the normal mode that in your normal drive mode, it only really uses it as and when. But when you put it in a brake regen mode, it is heavy. It's probably twice as much, because at most, really, I'm getting on the normal mode, the regen is about half of the regen bar. But in the full-on mode, it's the whole bar. It's a lot. It feels like a lot. When you take your foot off the gas, the gas is such a stretch in electric car, God Luke. But if you take your foot off the accelerator, it's pretty punchy. One of the things I'm also not massively a fan of are the window switches. It doesn't make any sense to me why you need almost like a touchpad to activate the rear windows, rather than just having 4 buttons. I don't fully understand that, and it kind of, I guess, is a part of the minimalist nature of this car. There are very few buttons in general, but some of the buttons you kind of think, you know, they had a really good purpose, they had a really good job in most cars. I don't really see why they had to go anywhere. And on that subject as well, the lack of buttons on the main screen is actually a pain. People who just kind of get in this car as maybe just like a rental car or a courtesy car, and then you've got to flick through all these different menus just to access, I don't know, the air conditioning or the heated seats. It's just a faff. It's just such a pain. I really don't see it. To be fair, it is really nice having a central cup holder situation. That is pretty nice, and having all the space in the middle to place all my snacks. But other than that, it's not too ideal, if I'm totally honest. And I think I'm probably not the only one who believes that. Just sitting here waiting for my food and watching a couple of Skoda VRSs go by, and I'm starting to wonder how many of the population of VRS owners have beards, because for me so far, it's 2 out of 2. Maybe that's my next car. It's time for you to get straight in my belly. I mean, I should have edited all that out. I mean, that was, you can tell not a food review. The rundown from the burger, I'm a fan, it's a nice burger. If you are ever around Mollie's Diner, Mollie's Motel. I would definitely recommend getting involved. You can even drive here and justify it. It's a nice burger. There are some other good burgers out there. I'm not sponsored by Mollie's Diner, so if Mollie's Diner wants to sponsor me, then please do get in touch and I will rave about your burger. Yeah, it's a great, there's chargers here. The car's currently charging now, and I think that's probably the best point to end the video. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully you enjoyed my second outing in the Cupra Born, and there's much more to come. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.